Hi, gang. Welcome to the Thursday show. And I have to be honest, following the horrific and heartbreaking mass shooting at the high school in Parkland, Florida, I don't really have anything funny or silly or goofy to open the show with. And I will actually talk about this a little bit in just a moment. But the Daily Dope is in the air. Hi, gang. It is Thursday, February 15th. I'm Jeff McAleer. I'm your host here at the Daily Dope, as well as the Grand Poobah of the GamingGang.com. And I have to say that I don't live in a vacuum. I don't live in a bubble. So when just horrific events like yesterday's school shooting take place, I can't just shake it off, I really can't. And I don't want to talk about this a whole lot because I know, many of you are tuning in or watching this after the stream airs live because you kind of want to get away from, the terrible things that happen day in, day out around the world. And I get that. I completely get that. All I want to say is, we really need here in the U.S. to change things. And there are a lot of things that are going on within our society that are leading to these horrible mass shootings that are taking place, and it's every day. Okay, just because you don't see something on the national news or it's not splashed all over CNN or Fox News, MSNBC, whatever, doesn't mean that they're not taking place. And I think from the beginning of 2017 we've had all of 5 days without some sort of a mass shooting taking place in the United States. And yes, part of it is we do need more sensible gun laws. And I know that a great many gun owners out there believe the same thing. They don't want it to be so easy for just anyone to walk in and buy an AR-15. In fact, it's easier for you to purchase a gun than it is to get a driver's license in a vast majority of the states here in the US. But this problem is deeper than just gun control. It's just society as a whole. And we really need to take a look in the mirror at ourselves and what we are doing as individuals. And, there's just a disconnect and there's this malaise of helplessness. And it's for people of all ages out there. Teen suicides are up. Of course, opioid deaths are up, and not all of those opioid deaths are connected to the pharmaceutical companies getting people hooked onto painkillers. Don't get me wrong, there is quite a bit of that. And even men my age, there's a huge spike in suicide rates for men my age, which I find very, very bizarre. And a lot of it has to do with our disconnect from each other. And I know people talk about how much more connected we are these days because of the internet and our phones and our tablets and all these other things. We might be more connected, but we tend to dehumanize each other when all each of us are is just some, voice in the ether, some words on a Twitter feed and things like that. We need to connect better with each other. I really think so. So, just horrible thing yesterday. I almost didn't do a show because, I'm a soft-hearted person. I mean, I have a soul. But one thing I will say is, enough with the thoughts and prayers routine, okay? It's pretty hackneyed. It's not working. Prayers aren't working, folks. If prayers were working, then these things would not be happening. And I will finish by saying, and I mentioned this on Twitter last night, that, if one of our lawmakers here in the United States had lost a family member or a child in any one of these daily mass shootings, they wouldn't be talking about thoughts and prayers, folks. Absolutely not. There would be some action going on. I think it's high time that either the folks that who we vote in to represent us in the Senate, in Congress, pay attention to what the citizens of the United States want, as opposed to what monies come in from different organizations. So anyway, all right, so I'm shaking this off. I honestly decided I was going to do a show because it would make me feel a little bit better. I love kind of sitting in front of you guys live, and of course, you know, many times folks catch the show later that night, or, you know, days or even weeks later. But all right, so moving right along, let me kind of change my thought process a little bit. I believe that this show, once it gets rendered and it's up on YouTube, will be the 250th video on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. So hooray, that's kind of cool. And I'm actually rapidly approaching the 50th episode of The Daily Dope, which I think is like Monday. Gosh, 50 shows already? Pretty amazing. Anyway, if you are watching live, I do want to point out there is chat available. It is available through Twitch as well as YouTube. And even though it's not on the screen, there is chat. I do take a peek at the chat, so if you have any questions or comments, or basically if I'm going to be doing an unboxing in just a few minutes, if you want a closer look at something, or you want me to, you know, kind of dig into the rules a bit more, just feel free, chime in. Anyway, so if you're wondering what's going on, tomorrow I am going to be unboxing the agents from Ninja Division. I'm going to be taking a look at this. I do have some giveaway news. I'm going to talk about that after the news. So I'll be taking care of that. And of course, you might be tuning in because you want to take a peek at Hero Realms. And I've got a slew of Hero Realms goodies that I just received from White Wizard Games. So I'm going to be doing an unboxing. There are some booster packs, different character decks, boss decks, and we're going to take a look at all of that in just a few moments. But I do have some news today, and let's kind of move on to a happier subject than I opened the show with, because WizKids has a new game that's coming out. Looks pretty interesting. If you like Vikings, you're probably going to dig this game, because it is called Endless Pass, and the players will actually play as Vikings, and I've got the dope. WizKids is pleased to announce the card-based adventure game Endless Pass, designed by Nuria Casellas. I'm hoping I got that right. 2 to 6 players take on the role of a Viking, either nameless or a legendary hero, and explore the past while not only fighting the never-ending horde of Endless, I guess that's why they're called the Endless, because they're never-ending, but you'll also fight rival Vikings as well. The goal? Eternal glory. When a Viking chooses to search the past, they draw cards from the past deck. These can be useful items or dangerous Endless. Using action cards, a Viking fights back, killing the beast and earning a glory point. Evade or block. The later 2 means that though the Viking is safe, the Endless continue on the path to the next player. Take a little of that with you. What does a Viking do when there are no Endless to fight? They attack each other, of course. Swing a sword or throw bombs at another in an attempt to steal glory or health. Viking bombs? Okay. Be cautious. A good Viking won't go down without a fight, ready to defend and retaliate at a moment's notice. I do not happen to have any official MSRP or release date. I believe this is coming out soon, very soon. But Endless Pass is for 2 to 6 players. And yes, I know Vikings are very, very popular. And I've actually been listening to some audiobooks recently about the history of the Vikings and a little bit of Norse mythology. And gosh, now off the top of my head, I can't think of the audiobook, but I'm in the midst of it. And it's really interesting because it kind of demythifies the Vikings. And of course, you know, we know the Vikings didn't wear those horned helmets or anything like that. And it's very interesting, very eye-opening. Anyway, moving right along, I've got some Kickstarter news, and it's from Indie Boards and Cards. Or is it Indie Board and Cards? I always forget. It's Boards and Cards. And it is Aeon's End Legacy, and it is a new Kickstarter. Aeon's End has been out before. It's a very, very well-received game, and I've got the dope about the Kickstarter. In 2016, Action Phase Games released the critically acclaimed cooperative deck-building game, Aeon's Edge. Last year, Indie Boards and Cards and Action Phase Games released the exciting standalone expansion, Aeon's End War Eternal. This year, we're excited to grow the universe with Aeon's End Legacy, a standalone game that also expands all previous Aeon's End content. Aeon's End Legacy is a full campaign where you'll build your character over multiple chapters, fighting increasingly powerful nemesises. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's nemesis. Maybe I'm wrong. Hey, remember, I treat English like it's a second language. Anyway, they will fight increasingly powerful enemies to defend Gravehold, the last bastion of humanity. At the end of each game, you will choose new upgrades for your character and more powerful player cards to add to the market. At the end of the campaign, you'll have unique characters, new nemesises, new player cards, and a new basic nemesis card that you can play with indefinitely and or play with all the other Aeon's End content released. If you'd like to play the campaign again, they are also offering a reset pack as an add-on because, yes, this is a legacy game. That's why it's called Aeon's End Legacy. And it is a cooperative deck building game for 1 to 4 players that will play in about 60 minutes per chapter. Players will struggle to defend Gravehold from the Nameless and their hordes using unique abilities, powerful spells, and the help of familiar characters. Well, familiar if you've played any of the other games, I suppose. It uses the same critically acclaimed deck building system made in Aeon's End. This core features a number of innovative mechanisms, including a variable turn order system that simulates the chaos of an attack and deck management rules that require careful planning. I do have a short video for the Kickstarter, so why don't we take a peek? Well, I can see it's going to be one of these days, folks, because as that video was playing, the camera's popping off of what it's set up on. Hey, gotta love a live show, right? Gots to love a live show. Ay, 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 ay. All right, let's see if we can get this fixed. Yeah, I guess that looks okay. At least until we move into the other segment, and we'll see how long that that holds up. Hey, I do call this the Duct Tape Studios for a reason, because a lot of stuff is just basically taped on to things. Looks all right. Looks okay. All right. Anyway, Ann's End Legacy is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in approximately 45 to 90 minutes. And the project is already past the 400% funding mark. I do believe you can get on board with the core game as well as any unlocked stretch goals. And I believe there's an expansion as one of the stretch goals for $65. Okay, all right, camera, stay where you're at. Stay where you're at. All right, so I have to admit, I think it's about time that Renegade Game Studios changes their name to North Sea Games, because they've got lots of North Sea expansions and the trio of games. And guess what? There is a new expansion. It is coming for explorers of the North Sea, and it is Rocks of Ruin. And I have the dope. Recent storms have left longships torn apart with their precious cargo scattered across the rocky shores. Meanwhile, rumors of great fortresses in nearby regions are beginning to spread. Will you be the first to salvage the wrecks, or will you throw caution to the wind and charge the enemy fortresses for fame and glory? Rocks of Ruin adds new ways to score with salvaging shipwrecks, building structures, and raiding fortresses. When placing tiles with a shipwreck, a token is taken from the supply and placed face down on the tile. Players may spend an action with one Viking to salvage a shipwreck. They will either find timber for building structures, provisions for additional actions, battering rams for raiding with one fewer Viking, or precious gold, worth 3 victory points at the game's end. Do want to point out, this is not a standalone game, so you're going to need Explorers of the North Sea to play. The expansion features new ways to play Explorers of the North Sea. It uses battering rams to raid fortresses. It includes a mini expansion for the North Sea Rune Saga, which, if you recall, actually ties all 3 of those games of the trilogy into a big kind of contest overall. And it also will add a 5th player to your game. The Rocks of Ruin expansion is, as mentioned, for 2 to 5 players. It's for ages 12 and up, and it is going to carry an MSRP of $35 when it arrives in April. Yes, as I said, there is a lot of North Sea Trilogy games and expansions out there, and sadly, I have to point out that I haven't played any of them. Nope, not a one. Oh well, what can I tell you? So, you say you'd like a game where maybe you operate a bar which is nestled into a fantasy setting? Well, you're in luck, prospective barkeeps, because Tavern Masters is now available from Dann Kriss Games. And I've got the dope. Run the best fantasy tavern in the village. Entertain the patrons, earn the gold. Each player is a new tavern owner, setting up shop in a thirsty village full of thugs and soldiers, mages, and nobles. There are multiple ways to play Tavern Masters: competitive, cooperative, or single player. During the day phase, players play tavern cards from their hand with gold to build up their tavern, so that during the night phase, more patrons will come to their tavern and spend more gold. One key feature in this game is trading. Players can trade goods and staff cards from their hand or their tavern, which adds for both a fun game dynamic and great player interaction. Another fun dynamic is that turns are taken simultaneously during each phase, so there is no player downtime. Also, there's no player elimination. In the base game of Tavern Masters, there are no take that cards, or cards which would negatively impact another player directly. Oh, boo! Boo! Yep, there goes the camera again. I might have to kind of go back to the stay tuned as I try to fix this for a few moments before I jump in to the unboxing. Yes, camera, why you? So now I'm gonna have to kind of bend down a little bit. Anyway, so this makes for a less tense gameplay for players who do not enjoy looking over their shoulder each turn at who will attack or betray them. For players who do enjoy more of the take that card play interaction, there's the Dirty Deeds expansion. Wait a second, so you got to get an expansion? Which adds in nasty tricks to play on the other tavern owners. The Dirty Deeds expansion is mainly intended for competitive play mode. The core game of Tavern Masters is for 1 to 6 players ages 8 and up. It plays in about 20 to 30 minutes and does carry an MSRP of $39.99. Do have to mention, I know absolutely nothing about Dann Kriss Games, but this looked sort of interesting, although I have to point out, 8-year-olds running a tavern? That might be a little strange. All right, so I'll tell you what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop over to the stay tuned screen real quick, probably a couple of minutes, so that I can fix this camera popping out of position here. So I will be right back. So, okay, so that looks okay. I think I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. And it looks a little crooked. Yeah, I think we should be all right. There we go. Hey, you know, that's what happens when this is live, right? Jeez. All right. Okay, so I did mention after the news that I was going to announce some giveaways. So first off, I do want to mention, and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, I have a brand spanking new copy of Talon from my pals over at GMT Games. It is in shrink and untouched by, well, it was touched by human hands when it was correlated, but since it went into shrink, it has not been touched by human hands. And I know plenty of wargamers, plenty of grognards watch the show on Wednesdays. Even though this is from GMT, I have reviewed it, I have played it, and it's, if you're a science fiction fan, a lot of appeal for this game. You don't have to be a war gamer to dig this game, because it's, you know, ships fighting in space and that. It's a very, very cool game. I really did enjoy this. So you have an opportunity to win this. I will point out that you must be a patron of our Patreon, which you'll see there's a little link down there. And to get in the running for the giveaway for our patrons, you must support the Gaming Gang at the $2 level. Not a big deal, you know, $2, trying to help keep me around. Lost a bunch of patrons when Patreon did that goofy nonsense. I talked a little bit about this yesterday. But yes, so every $2 that you support, the Gaming Gang will get you an entry into the contest to win Talon. And I will mention that it's not like I've got tons of patrons. So even if you're supporting the Gaming Gang, and by doing that, you're actually supporting the Daily Dope as well, just a $2 pledge gets you in the running. Like I said, you're not going to have a whole ton of competition on winning things. Okay, so, but I don't want to make everything just, oh, you got to be a patron to win something. But this contest will run until March 7th. So you have to be a patron through March 6th to be in the running. Okay, so last week I did a quick poll on Twitter asking folks if they'd be interested in winning games that I have reviewed. They have been lightly played. They have been lovingly played, because I do not trash my games nor allow anyone else to trash my games. But I know that I do review quite a few things that, I mean, the reality is they're not going to get to my game table a ton. They're good games, don't get me wrong, but I know how my gang works, and I want to be able to get these games out to a good home where I know people are going to play these games. So, also running through March 7th, I will have a contest for you to win my copy of ShutterBug from Calliope Games. I enjoy this one. This is a fun one, and this is a good one to play with the kids too. And the whole premise of ShutterBug is everybody is a photographer. It's in the 30s, and they're off gallivanting around the country, around the US, trying to track down photographs for these tabloid newspapers. So a lot of fun. Not a heavy strategic game by any stretch, but it is a fun game. So I will give away this to a YouTube subscriber. So a YouTube subscriber is going to get a copy of this. And all you have to do is simply be a subscriber and comment on one of my videos. Pretty easy. I will say commenting that I suck or something like that is probably going to take you out of the running to win ShutterBug. Just saying. But yeah, any sort of comment. You don't have to be like, oh wow, Jeff, this is the greatest show ever. No, just say, hey, really dug whatever piece, or hey, thanks for, you know, having a daily show here and things like that. Now, I am also going to give away, for the role-playing gamers out there, I am going to provide 2 copies of the recently released Flash Gordon role-playing game from Pinnacle Entertainment. And I will also throw in the Kingdoms of Mongo PDFs as well. So you'll get the core book as well as Kingdoms of Mongo And that is, I will do two. One will be for patrons, and one will be for YouTube subscribers. Pretty easy. And the same rules apply as for ShutterBug. So as long as you are a subscriber and you've commented on one of the videos for, let's make it for the Daily Dope from here on out. We'll do it that way. So from this show through March 7th, if you comment on any one of the Gaming Gang, or I shouldn't say, well, yeah, I might have some Gaming Gang videos that aren't associated with the show, right? The Daily Dope. But yes, so from today through March 7th, if you, or I should say March 6th, if you comment and are a subscriber on YouTube, you're in the running for my copy of ShutterBug and one of the copies of the Flash Gordon RPG, and then also the other copy for the Flash Gordon RPG pack, I guess we'll say, is going to be for patrons of the Gaming Gang / the Daily Dope over on Patreon. It's kind of cool, you know, making sure I got some stuff floating out there for folks. I don't want to twist people's arms to become a patron. So that is what I've got cooking. All right, so stay in place, camera, I swear. So I am going to take a look at Hero Realms from White Wizard Games, and I have heard a lot of good things about Star Realms, and the folks over at White Wizard Games said, well, is there a particular game that you'd like to review? And I said, well, no. I mean, I leave it up to the companies a lot of times when they want to, you know, get something cooking with the Gaming Gang and thus here on the show as well. And I said, no, yeah, it's up to you, whatever you'd like to send. So Star Realms, of course, has probably gotten tons and tons of coverage, and I'm sure Hero Realms has too. So I had heard some really good stuff about Star Realms. Hero Realms is from the same folks who did design Star Realms, so it's probably right in that ballpark too. So I'm going to do an unboxing, and we're going to take a peek at some of these cards. We're going to take a peek at the game, and kind of go from there. All right, so let me switch over to the other camera here. And for a change, my camera is not like way up there, so I'm like, hey, look at this. Oh, camera's right here for me. And as you can see, it's a pretty small footprint box overall. It's not a huge box. And as I mentioned before, I don't have huge hands. But Hero Realms, the core set is what I would consider this. The core box will have enough cards for 2 to 4 players. So it says, now is a time for heroes. Become a hero, perform mighty actions, and recruit powerful champions to your cause. From the makers of the award-winning Star Realms deck-building game, Hero Realms combines the fun of deck-building games with the interactivity of trading card game-style combat. As you play, use gold to add new actions and champions to your deck. When played, those actions and champions generate powerful effects, give you additional gold, and damage your opponent and their champions. If you reduce your opponent's health to 0, you win! It includes, as I mentioned before, a complete game for 2 to 4 players, contains the rules and 144 cards. It says to expand the game for more players, use an additional deck or add-on Hero Realms character packs, which is what I have here. I've got all these hero packs, or character packs, and then I even have 2 boss monster packs. So let's pop this on open here, take a look. I will mention this core box here carries an MSRP of $19.99. The boss packs here, the boss decks here, are $9.99, and then these character packs are $4.99. Now, of course, in saying that, you know, online retailers, things like that, I'm not necessarily saying that that's what you're going to pay. All right, so we've got the box here, we've got the rules, Let's see what we got. Aha, and it's a fold out. And we got an overview telling us about the basics. Personal deck and keeping score. Setup. How to play. There's a main phase, discard phase, draw phase. So it looks like in the main phase, anytime during your main phase, you may perform any of the following in any order as many times as you're able. Play a card from your hand. Use the expend, ally, and or sacrifice abilities of any of your cards in play. Use gold to acquire new cards from the market. Use combat to attack an opponent and or their champions. Okay, so that's talking about the anatomy of a card. So it's going to tell you what faction, the cost, primary ability, and ally ability. Looks like some pretty cool artwork there. Using abilities, the expend ability, ally abilities, sacrifice abilities. And then it's talking about acquiring cards, attacking, the discard phase, draw phase, term references, showing the play area a little bit here. Icon reference, multiplayer rules, free for all for 2 to 4 players. Okay. All right. So the game engine and set design is by Darwin. Darwin Castle. Game concept and lead set development is Robert Doherty. Okay, so then we've got the cards here. So let's take a peek. Life drain. All right, gotta hate when that happens. One thing I was interested when I was taking a peek at the box here and with these character decks, I like the fact that it appears that these character packs, that you can replace the deck that you've got in the game. So from like the core game, I believe you kind of construct your own custom deck, and you can replace that with a character who is pretty much in tune. It's the deck has kind of been tuned for a specific fantasy character archetype. All right, so looks like, okay, so these are all, the backing is all the same on that. Let's see what we got here. And it appears the backing, oh no, a little different. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought there were some scoring cards of some sort. Okay, so we've got 0 through 30, and then we've got 40 through 70 on this card. Got 4 different colors for up to 4 players. Got 80 plus. Huh, okay. Got 0 through 9, and then 80 plus. Wonder if that's for tracking victory points. Huh, I wonder. Okay, so are all the rest of these the same backing? Yeah. All right, so let's take a look to see what we've got. Arcus, Imperial Dragon. Uh-huh. I bet you want he or she on your side, it on your side. Looks like it's probably costly too. Looks like it probably costs you 8 gold. Let's see, I do not see any. Oh, maybe this is to track your gold. Maybe that's what that's for. Maybe that's what these cards are for. Close ranks. Command, it's an action. So this is a champion. This dragon here is a champion. Close ranks and command are actions. Dyrian War Mage. Cool art. Very cool art. Domination. Kristoff the Just. I'm going to take a guess at we'll probably have some characters who look, and then we do have that faction symbol up in the corner. Maybe you choose a faction, or your deck has to kind of be made up of a specific faction. Don't know, haven't played. I'm just taking a peek. Should be able to get this to the table over the weekend, and depending on how things are falling together for the schedule, because I know I already have some things planned already for next week's shows. I'm going to try to get a review out of this as quickly as I can. Recruit. Master Weigh-in. Rally the troops. Word of Power. That's showing that it's an action. It's a spell. Aha, here we go. Here's a new faction. So we've got an ogre mercenary. Taxation. Bribe. Well, we can kind of get an idea of what this faction with the money bag up in the corner might be all about. Death threats. Yeah, I guess these are kind of the bad guys. Deception. Firebomb. Oh, yeah. Okay. A hit job. Intimidation. Yeah. These are not nice. These are not like nice guys. They're not they're kind of bad guys. A guild mage. Broyd the Enforcer. Champion human rogue. Oh, very cool. Very nice. Prophet. Rasmus the Smuggler. These are some shifty characters here. Smash and grab, street thug. Okay, so here we go. We got another faction here. Cult priest. Okay, so this is gonna maybe be some sort of like almost like a chaotic evil group. Not to say those other guys didn't seem like they were evil. Okay, so we got the cult priest. Dark energy. Looks like that's a spell. Yep. Death cultist. Death touch. Yeah, these guys are pretty focused on death, it looks like. Dark reward. Yeah, pretty bloody there. Rayla Endweaver. He's a human mage champion. Influence. A master vampire. Oh, yeah. Okay. Alrighty. It's looking kind of interesting. Plus, I kind of dig the whole... It's only got a fold-out sheet for the rules. Now, don't get me wrong. I dig Magic the Gathering. And I have been playing Magic the Gathering since beta. Yeah, man, I'm old school. I keep telling you folks, I'm old school. So that means I'm old. I've been around this hobby for a long time. But I will point out that it can be a difficult game to kind of just introduce new players to because of the various different timing mechanics that are involved in it. So let me grab a quick sip here. So I have to point out, the winner of the contest yesterday, Robert Moffat, had mentioned, hey, Jeff, I really dig the whole live show, kind of easy pace to it, the chattiness of it. I'm thinking, yeah, well, I don't know. A lot of other people do. So, hey, I'm just here having fun. I'm sharing my love of games, you know? Come on. Anyway, okay, so we got gold. It's like one gold piece here. Oh, so I guess, okay, so that's how you're going to track your gold. You got gold cards. So I'm guessing these are all face up. Does that mean we're going to have more gold in here? Take a look. Yep, sure is. Yeah. Not just gold, too. Looks like we've got some gems. And looks like we got another faction, too. So it looks like we've got fire gems, which are worth 2 gold. Geez, there's so many of them. They can't be that valuable. Come on. I thought gems are valuable because there's scarcity. I'm just joking. So we got more gold. Yeah, it looks like these are all... Oh, wait. Hang on. So, looks like those are the cash. Then looks like we've got some weapons. So we've got short swords, daggers. Oh, more money. Ruby. Couple more daggers. All right, okay. So moving along with these other faction cards. So Life Drain, List the Unseen, another vampire. More of a Nosferatu-looking vampire. The Rot. Tyrannor the Devourer. Oh, he's just a demon. Oh, yeah. That's easy. Necromancer. Necromancer. I always default to Necromancer, and people go, no, it's Necromancer. I'm like, okay. All right, so we've got these, and then it looks like we may have some sort of kind of an elf faction, maybe a nature faction. So we've got the Lore Weaver. It's an elf mage. Kron the Berserker. Yeah, I guess this is going to be kind of nature direwolf. Elven Curse. Grak the Storm Giant. Huh. Because he's the big character for this faction. I was going to say baddie, but it doesn't necessarily look like these are bad guys. Elven Gift. Nature's Bounty. A very nice looking game. Orc Grunt. Cardstock's pretty decent. I've seen much thinner. But of course, say it all the time with your card games, if they're going to see a lot of play, get those sleeves on them. Rampage. Torgon Rock Splitter. He's a troll. Spark. Wolf Form. It's an action for the wolf. I wonder if you play that with the, what was it, Dire Wolf that was back there? Wolf Shaman. Cool. Nice. So that is what we find inside the core. So that is cool that it's got the 4 different factions, because sometimes you'll see games where they say, okay, it's for 2 to 4 players. And then all they really do, maybe they've got 2 factions, 2 opposing sides. And then they'll just double up the card count for the 2 factions. And then they say, okay, well, it's for, 2 to 4 players. Just if you have 3 or 4 players, then you just use the other cards for the other faction. So it's cool to see that there are the 4 different factions available. Slip those on in there. That's good. Okay, so we've got the 144 cards. I believe those are scoring cards. And then we've got the rules. And that is what we find inside the core box of Hero Realms. But I want to take a look at these characters. So, and the packaging is that of regular boosters. So first off, we've got the wizard. Okay, let's just use the old hobby knife, Jeff. Much easier. Okay, so there's the hero card. So that's representing your character there. Come on, you can't have a wizard without fireballs. Come on. Channel. And it doesn't look like there's a faction. See, there's nothing up there. But there's also no cost here. So let's see. It's like those, we've got the scoring cards, we've got some more gold. Spell components. Ignite. fire staff. A cat familiar. Huh. I guess there's got to be some way for you to acquire these cards. I don't know if you just start off with those cards. Maybe it is. I mean, it is a deck building game, so that's very possible. Okay, so we got that. Let's take a look at the fighter. Easy opening package, huh? Yeah, sure. Alright, just making sure I don't accidentally cut into one of the cards in here. Okay, so we got the fighter. He's all decked out in some plate mail. Crushing blow. Shoulder bash. Take a little of that with ya. It's like the scoring cards. New weapon, long sword. More gold. Throwing axe. Shield bearer. And another ruby card. That's a little. Was the other gems, were they rubies? I think they were fire gems. But look like, say, it have the same value. So I had to point out that it was kind of cool how White Wizard Games shipped Hero Realms to me, as well as, I think I mentioned before, I mentioned on yesterday's show, they sent me the Epic card game. So I will be taking a look at this next week. But I thought it was kind of cool. They actually sent me everything in a card box. So I was like, oh, hey, that's nice. Sent along a card box. That's how they shipped it. I was like, okay, cool, nice. Okay, let's take a look at the Ranger. Hey, boo-boo. Forget the picnic biscuits. Let's go kill the Ranger. Yeah, it was an old joke from high school. Old running gag. Hey, boo-boo. Okay, so we've got the Ranger here. Black arrow. Hunting bow. More gold. Another ruby. Horn of calling. Headshot. Track. And then the scoring cards. Okay. So we've also got the cleric as well as the thief, and then we're going to take a look at these boss decks. So obviously there must be some cards that you utilize in the base game that are your starting deck. Because it just looks like these are cards that you're going to replace your starting deck. There we go. All right, so this is the cleric. Follower. Another follower. Different artwork, though. Looks like the same kind of character. Spiked mace. Prayer beads. More gold. Resurrect. Put a champion from your discard pile into play. Uses ability only on a champion that was stunned since your last turn. Bless. And then the scoring cards. All right, let's take a look at the thief. All right. I thought for a second this pack would actually open up like it's supposed to be designed to. So we got the thief here. Heist. Pickpocket. Pickle Rick, what? Pickpocket. Ruby, throwing knife. Another throwing knife. Oh, same art. Oh, another throwing knife. And then we've got the gold. All right, so let's look at these boss decks, because these boss decks appear to be quite a lot more cards. I believe probably twice as many as we saw in the character packs. Oh yeah, that's what it's looking like to me. So I'm curious. Let's see. Is there a card here? I was going to say, I bet you there's some sort of rule to use the boss decks. So as game start in turn order, one player playing this boss deck will battle against a team of 1 to 5 players. Figured that. I figured it was going to be many against one as far as these boss decks. Okay, cool. So that's talking about the dragon rules, treasure hoard, starting deck, special rules. Nice. So a bit of a, with these boss decks, a bit of a tweak to how you play the game. Whereas in the core box, it looks like it's kind of sort of a free-for-all if you're playing 3-4 players. And here, you're actually going to be probably using, easily enough, the heroes, or, of course, constructing a hero deck from the core game. Amulet of Cleansing, Boots of Speed, this is probably a treasure hoard. Crown of Will, Gauntlets of Strength, Guardian's Shield, Orb of Death, Ring of Wishes, Sword of Destiny, Demon Coin. All right, so here we go. Now we get into the dragon. We got the Dragon's Bite, Dragon's Fire, Dragon's Tail, Elven Gold, Guild Mark, Horde. Okay, so more money. Cunning Blow, Dragon's Claw, Ruby, Prismatic Diamond. Oh, so this has a value. Looks like it does something too. Vial of Elven Tears. There's the dragon himself, or herself. Not looking very happy. And we've got what I think are scoring cards. Like I said, I'm not positive, haven't played the game. I'm just taking a look at these cards. All right, and then finally, let's take a look at the Lich. And that's how I've always pronounced it. I don't know. I've heard people say it's pronounced like. I always thought it's a Lich, but we'll find out in a sec. Okay, so then we've got these additional rules here. And I would take a guess it might be a little bit different because it's going to say there's a special rules. All right, now we've got that. Okay, so this is a little different. Oh, it's just telling us. Oh, maybe it was I didn't look at the back of the other card. That's why. So it looks like here's the Lich's card, and then it's telling you what cards are included with this. Oh, okay, so yes, that's what I'm taking a guess. So when you're using this, in case you somehow mixed up your cards, it's going to tell you this is what you need for this boss. So make sure to pull those cards. So we've got control. Kind of different. Okay. I didn't even really look at the backs of these. No, that's what I thought. I thought the character packs weren't showing different backs. Yeah, I guess so. Yep. So I guess this is a deck that with the boss decks, you're going to have a deck of probably it's, like this is the Dragon's Hoard. Treasures from that dragon. Okay, so then we've got some gold. Frozen Touch. Minor Summoning. Major Summoning. Rubies. Soul Crush. Yes, it is soul crushing. Soul Diamond. couple of those. Abomination. Banshee. Ghoul. Wow, there's gotta be a skeleton, right? Revenant. Another word for zombie. There we go, skeleton horde. Come on! Which is, you know, this undead boss has got to have some skeletons. There's 2 of them. 3 of them. Wall of bones. Wall of fire. There we go, got another zombie. And then looks like these are the treasures. Deep insight. Heart of evil. Infernal wealth. Manipulation. Unending rage. And void. All right. Nice. Really dig the art. There's some really nice artwork. That was one of the things I always loved about Magic the Gathering, too. They had tons of this. Hey, Harry, sorry, I had my back turned. Wasn't taking a peek at chat. So, Harry Ryan. Hi, Harry. Always good to see you popping in. Am I planning to do a playthrough review for Hero Realms? This game looks interesting. Yes. Actually, I should point out, just about any game that I do an unboxing of, although I have to admit, some of the GMT stuff that I get that are really just, not just, but stuff that's very, very old school war game-ish, I can never really guarantee a review. That's why I try to go really in depth on the unboxings. But yes, Harry, I do plan on doing a playthrough as well as a review for Hero Realms. So, of course, you know, a card game like this, I can easily do a how to play and review it. Whereas something bigger like, say, when I was doing the just insane review for Darkest Night 2nd Edition, I want to do kind of a how to play, because I just kind of touched on things with that. But yes, I will, because this game does look pretty interesting, doesn't it? So that is what we've got with Hero Realms. Let's swing back over this way. Ta-da! Look at that. And it's unboxed, so you're not getting all that glare anymore on the, the game itself. So, as I mentioned before, Hero Realms is from White Wizard Games. It does carry an MSRP for that boxed core set of $19.99. The character packs are $4.99, and then the boss packs, the Dragon and the Lich we were looking at, and I'm sure there's probably more than just this. This is just what White Wizard Games sent me. Those are $9.99. And of course, as I mentioned before, you know, your favorite online retailer will probably have it a little bit less than that. So, yes, stay tuned. Maybe try to get a review of this out next week. As I mentioned before, I think I should be able to get this to the table with the gang this weekend and be able to check it out. All right, so that is today's show. You know, I kind of apologize for starting on a down note, and I kind of don't apologize for starting on a down note, because I'm telling you, society in the U.S., we got to take a hard look what's going on. Stop having people killing each other. I mean, that's how you got to look at it. Anyway, when you are not watching The Daily Dope, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I will be back tomorrow. I will be unboxing the Agents. We might dig pretty deeply into this unboxing, because it just seems like there's probably like a deck of cards in here. Maybe a playboard. So we might take a closer look at the rules for it. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. And as always, thank you for watching.